In the 2025-26 financial year, the State Department for Housing and Urban Development has been allocated 119.6 billion, up from the 87.5 billion last year. With the affordable housing program being one of President Ruto's flagship projects, 95 billion of the total budget has been set aside for the initiative, an increase from 67.4 billion in the previous year. Out of the 119.6 billion allocation, 116.7 billion is for development expenditure, while 2.8 billion goes to recurrent expenditure. The recurrent budget also covers research and feasibility studies for the housing program. Under development expenditure, the Affordable Housing Fund receives the largest share at 95 billion, followed by the Kenya Urban Program at 13.3 billion, and Phase 2 of the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Project at 7.1 billion. For recurrent expenditure, the Affordable Housing Board has been allocated 1 billion, the Government Estates Department 467.5 billion, and Headquarters Administrative Services at 415.7 million.
We are not only using that housing levy kujenga hiyo affordable housing. We are using it to build the markets. We have now 260 markets going on in Kenya.
Despite there being separate budgetary allocations for infrastructure like markets, early childhood classrooms and police posts, President Ruto's pronouncements have raised concerns. The Central Organization for Trade Unions is among entities opposing the move to extend housing levy funds to such infrastructure. Secretary General Francis Atwoli, in a statement, warned of potential abuse of funds and lack of public participation. The statement reads in part, and I quote, "Under the affordable housing regulations, housing levy funds may now erroneously be used to other amenities under the guise of associated social infrastructure. While these are all important public services, they fall well outside the scope of what Kenyan workers were promised when this levy was introduced." Unfortunately, at no point were the Kenyan workers represented by COTU, who form 90% of the contributors, nor their representatives on the board consulted during the drafting of these regulations. Affordable Housing Board CEO Sheila Waweru has, however, dismissed these claims, insisting that proper procedures and stakeholder engagements were followed.
The Affordable Housing Act, and this is stated within that Act of 2024, is that the housing levy is to undertake construction and maintenance of affordable housing, which includes social housing for slum upgrading projects. And in addition to that, it's also supposed to support construction of associated social and physical infra. And this is just to ensure that as we are building these houses, we are building areas that people can be able to live in, they can be able to work in, they can be able to carry out trades, they can be able to also have their children, go to schools from those same areas. And when we talk about physical infra, we are talking about access roads, we are talking about connectivity to services like sewer, water, electricity, and so on.
President Ruto has maintained his target of constructing at least 200,000 units annually. But 3 years on, only about 140,000 units have been completed, raising doubts over the feasibility of the 1 million houses in 5 years promise.
I may not have the 200,000 per year as we promised.
Despite the 140,000 unit claim, the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, the official government data source, reports that only 54,319 housing units worth 122.6 billion had been completed by December 2024. While President Ruto recently launched the Mukuru Affordable Housing Project to match fanfare, not all beneficiaries are celebrating. Some tenants have raised concerns about the cost of furniture and appliances provided. Others say they applied for larger units but got bedsitters instead.
Mimi nilikuwa nimejaza 1 bedroom na saa hii nimestuka kuwa kwa single kwa bedsitter. Nishatia saini, mimi sitaki hizi vitu. Ni expensive. Unajua mtu anajua vile atachipachet. Huwezi kuja useme pesa yote unaleta kulipia furniture na nyumba eli hali una hata chakula.
More worrying are fears of eviction as tenants struggle to pay monthly rates, now remitted to the government rather than private landlords.
Nikiteleza kidogo hata nikishindwa kulipa rent, wanivumilie nitalipa. Ukweli mahali mimi nilikuwa landlord alikuwa ananielewa.
We give you enough notice, several notices, and we give you time, 2.5 months to be able to course correct. There is also the opportunity to change a unit. So you can apply, let's say you had a 3-bedroom house and your financial situation has changed, and you can apply for a smaller unit.
The question remains, will the government listen to their plea amid growing fears of eviction? Ian Keitani for K24 Evening Edition.